Hello.
Hello.
So this is our first podcast with video. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well. Welcome to, we're finally starting season 3
That's right.
of
And
the
hi,
Sheltercats
everybody.
podcast. Hi. Hello, everyone. We're both, I can't speak for you. I feel a little awkward because I don't like to watch myself do
Oh,
video,
oh, I hate it. I hate it.
but, but everybody has video. So this is like the big thing we're going to do in season 3 is we're going to have video and audio. So we've already done it twice. We did it once without. We did once with, and we're probably more pleasantly surprised than we expected to be.
Yeah. Oh, and here comes a visitor. You can see her little tail popping up in the bottom of my screen.
Hi,
She's laying on
Delilah.
the bed.
Can we get her to fart on camera?
You won't hear it though. That's the only thing. You'll just see my facial reactions to it when it stinks up the room.
Some of your shoes will fall off the
Oh,
shelves
the shoes start rumbling.
in disgust. So we're recording this. So this would be episode 47 of season 3 and the season 3 premiere. So we're recording this on the first day of autumn.
Oh, is that right? Is that what today is?
Today is Happy Autumn.
Okay.
So how was your summer?
How was my summer? My summer was all right. I feel like my summer disappeared like they always do. Just it was always, you start the summer with such big plans, and then by the time mid to end of August comes around, you're like, wait a minute, what happened? Where did everything go? And they just, that's it. But it was okay though. I did some stuff. I got some resting in, I guess. Um, that's it. How was yours?
You did some acting though, didn't you?
I did some acting. That is correct. Yes, I did. I was in a show. That is true.
How
Yep.
did that go?
That went well. It was a crazy, wacky show. It was Betty's Summer Vacation was the name of it. I didn't know anything about it before the show, and now it was a very challenging play to do. It was really funny. It was crazy. It was over the top, and it was a success. We had great audiences for every performance, so met some great people out of it, and that's all you can take out of it. That's it.
That's awesome. I'm
Yep.
glad you have that as like your, I guess, your release or your thing that you do for fun.
That's definitely one of them. It's definitely one of them. So, but that's good.
Cool.
And I'm off and on with that. Like I'm not in anything at the moment, so I probably won't be again for another couple of months, if that. But we'll see.
That's great.
See what
One
it
of these
goes.
days I'll get to see one of them. You
And you
know,
should. You
if I
should.
get off my lazy ass, I'll definitely come out and see them or perform them in my town and make it easy for me, but that's asking a lot.
It's that's a bit of a hike for rehearsals for me.
Yes, no, I just so everyone knows, we're both on Long Island in New York, but you're about
From you
45 minutes
about 45, yeah, half hour to 45 minutes, depending on traffic or whatever.
east of me. So
East of me. That's
I'm
right.
basically the next, Queens is a block, literally 2 blocks west of me, and
Yeah,
you're in Suffolk County. So we're about 45 minutes apart, but
yeah.
both in New
And I'm
York.
like not quite mid Suffolk County, but almost middle Suffolk County.
And so my summer was the same as you. I hate summer. I hate hot weather. I hate everything about summer. The older I
Yeah.
get, the more I hate summer. I just dislike it. I used to love it. I used to go to summer camp as a kid and, just being out with friends or stuff like that. The older I get, the more I just dislike heat and humidity and hot weather and bugs and crickets and bees and it's humid. I put a new air conditioner in, so
Oh, that's
what
good.
everything here is temperature wise is fine. Like last summer, the air conditioner died halfway through the summer, so I had to make do with like fans and a whole big to do. It's not easy to install them in my apartment. So
Right.
and then this summer, like in June, I said I can't, fuck it. So I had to dismantle my office, and my landlord helped me put it in, and it's made such a big difference.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, no,
cats
you
were
can
fine. They're
definitely.
adaptable. They don't care. They'll drink their water and just be a little more lazy. I was the cranky person.
a few years ago, I bit the bullet and had central AC installed in the house, and it was the best investment I've ever made. I mean, apart from the house itself, but it was the best. I mean, it's just, I mean, especially the second floor, because it just gets insanely hot up there, like unbearably hot. And I don't care how many fans or how many, whatever you have set up, it just didn't make a difference. But the AC was just, it's like, so you need it, especially for that humidity, really, because I mean, it's so, you know, it's so trite, but it's the truth. It's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you. The heat is fine, like I mean, to an extent, but like that humidity is just unbearable.
Yeah, it just even just cutting the humidity, it made a big difference.
Yeah,
And the first, like say 2 weeks, I had it because it's in my office, and it pretty much reaches the whole floor. The first, I'd say 2 weeks I had it. Uh, I'd say five of my cats slept in that room
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
nonstop. They were so happy. They were just all piled in that room 24 hours a day, sleeping in there, eating in there, just like they made it their home. They were happy to be in there.
And who can
Uh,
blame them?
s-
You know?
now they've kind of spread out because today's autumn and it's been getting cooler. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've already put out my Halloween decoration
Have you
because
really?
I have
Yeah,
Halloween to Christmas is my favorite time of year.
right.
Absolutely. I love the holidays. I'm a big Halloween fan. And the older I get, the earlier I decorate because
That's funny.
now I live
Mhm.
alone and I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
But
I'll just, I don't know. I love Halloween and I do like to decorate for it, but even for all the holidays, it's just the decorating is it's so much work, and it's more work of the taking it down and putting it away, so I have to decide uh, if I'm
yeah,
going to have the energy to do all of that this year. So I definitely, like I have in the past, I've had some Halloween parties and whatever. So I go all out when I have the Halloween parties. But if I'm not having a party, I'll put a couple of things. Like I put last year, I had a lovely bale of hay that I had out on my front steps, and some other
cool.
small things, just for when the kids come around for actually Halloween
I
itself.
love it. It's my favorite time of year.
Yep.
But like you, the summer just kind of like went by. I didn't do as much as I had planned. Work
Yeah.
took up a lot of my time.
Yeah. Same.
So, and as you're well aware, I'll make everyone aware. I was kind of struggling with the show, basically.
Yep.
Just I see a tail. There she is.
You see her face? She got a little
She's
face
like,
pop up there. Come here.
you just saw her eyes kind of like float up, and
Come
her
here.
tail was like,
Come say. Come here. Come say hi. All right. Yep. Here we go. Let's give her a little camera time. Oops, and she's stuck on the pillow. Okay, there we go.
"Hello."
Oh, she's so fat. Okay, come here. There we go. See you later, Daniel.
There's
Say hi,
Delilah from
Daniel.
the Farty Feline.
This is the farty feline herself
Ah,
in person. Hello, Dan. Ah. My little.
she's so
Oh,
cooperative.
she's so cooperative. She loves
She
being
looked,
held, hates being picked up.
she looked, she looked really thrilled that you just did that. He's gonna ask you later. He's gonna edit that out, right? Please. Uh, don't. I don't want to be on. I don't want to be on your podcast. Um, but yeah, the summer just went by too fast, and I struggled with the show. You and I talked about it a lot, but I don't mind
Hmm.
sharing it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to carry on. I was having trouble kind of getting started again,
Yep.
and we haven't had episodes since Memorial Day.
Right.
So that's coming up on 4 months. That's the longest we've been off from this. I took a month, and then you joined early in last season, and I thought it would be 3 months, and then it turned into almost 4 months. And
Right.
we didn't really start recording again until Labor Day weekend. So in September. So
Right.
you know, and you made the point that the longer we went without working on it, the harder it was to get me to want to go back to it.
That's right.
And
That's right.
for some reason, uh, three of two or three of the guests we've had in previous seasons have started podcasts of their own. And for some stupid reason, my first reaction was of discouragement. I don't know why. And it's not, I'm happy, I wish everybody the best success. In fact, yesterday I was interviewed for Gemma Smith, who is on our show. She's Cat Beret, the founder of Cat Beret. She had me on as an expert podcaster. I don't
Look at
think I
that.
am an
See?
expert at all. I'm not an expert. And I kept
Mhm.
saying, look, this is just my opinion. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, so my first reaction was, they don't need me. I'm not doing it anymore. And you, my dear friend and co-host, were very instrumental in getting me to shut the fuck up and start recording again.
It's hard sometimes, because like you have to just kind of put stuff in a different perspective, just look at it from a different perspective and kind of like realign things, like you could look at it as, that, oh, they don't need us because there's so many other podcasts, or you could look at it as we have inspired all of these other people to, to start their own thing. And what a wonderful thing that is, so it's a
Yeah,
different
there's
way to
room.
look at it. And
There's room for everybody, I
and there's
think.
room for everybody. There really is, because we have a great audience. People are so loyal, right? They keep coming back, they keep listening, and the audience keeps growing, and it's wonderful. And for some reason, they want to hear what we have to say. So, you know,
Yeah, and we keep evolving. It was very
yeah,
serious the first season. You joined last season, and now we're doing video. So we keep
yeah,
the
right,
sh the show keeps evolving. So I really have you to thank as much as the listeners and the big followers we have on Spotify.
yeah,
I have you to thank for um, dealing with the ebbs and flows of my motivation. So uh, just I'm in, also we used the Spotify app previously
right,
to it made it easy to just grab your phone, grab your tablet, grab your laptop and just record audio. Now Spotify doesn't allow that anymore. They basically removed all the recording functionality from the app. So all you could do is track your stats and you could import audio and set up an episode. You can't record it. You can only like program it and type
right,
in the description. So now we
right,
have to use this Riverside software that they partner with, which is a much bigger editing suite and much more robust
yeah,
and more professional. It kind of it forced us to kind of take that leap into being more of a professional podcast. I'm using my AirPods. We're not sitting here with the big microphone like you see on all the other
right, right.
podcasts. I think we'll get there. Maybe for Christmas
Although
I'll
I
get.
do have that setup because actually Ralph for Christmas last year got me like that whole setup. I haven't maybe now that we're doing all the video and everything, I do want to kind of go to that next level. So I'll hopefully
Yeah, you
implement
you already have it. I'm gonna have to invest in
that.
and maybe a better microphone. These work really
Yeah.
well, I think.
This I think for our purpose, this works pretty good. It's not too shabby. You know?
So, we're gonna keep going. Um, the schedule may be a little irregular. We've already recorded with Emma from Emma Cruises.
Mm-hmm.
We've recorded with a really fascinating cat behaviorist
Yep.
named Stephen Quant. Uh, that was really the when we did the video for that. That was our first video podcast, and it was like 90 minutes, and it went so well
Could have talked to him
that,
for the whole afternoon. It was just
and it was our most professional. I had a script of questions.
mm-hmm.
Um, I had it set up in the kitchen, so now I'm relaxing in a chair because it's just a casual episode. But we were so professional, so well set up. And the first thing you said to me was, "This is, I think, the best one we've ever did,"
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it was just so, you know, there may be fewer episodes, but they'll be better produced and more professional
Right.
because
And I think there's something to be said for looking at the person too. You know, when you can interact visibly and verbally, you know, it adds like a different, I feel, a different level of communication, a different level of connection, you know.
yeah,
So
and your shoes.
and you get to, well, we're gonna work on changing that background 'cause
Hey, I have Vance behind me.
I
It
really
looks
want to do my back porch is it's a beautiful little setting and I have a couple of cat trees for Delilah out there, so she's got her whole little cat dominium and I've got, you know, it's lots of light, but there's so much sound pollution back there. I have an AC unit, I've got the train in the background and just I can't get that place quiet enough, but that's where I would like to record, but I don't think that's going to work out for me. But we'll see. We'll figure out a good spot.
yeah, we'll keep working on it. We'll keep evolving. Um, and I feel like the show's just in a good place. We don't. There's no pressure to. There's no really pressure to do anything. We could just do the shows that we want. Um, we're gonna have rescue advocates back,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna do video also. I invited them back. We invited them back for their holiday drive.
Right, right.
So, because we had them on last season, but it was after the holiday drive. It was more, I think, last March we had them on.
I think it was, yeah, it was a couple months after the holiday drive. Yeah.
So I invited the whole family to do video, and they've agreed to do video.
Okay, great.
Um, I invited the director of Little Shelter to come back on. And other than that, we'll just have more, cat conversations about your cats, some of my cats, more holiday tips and stuff like that. So, you know, we're just gonna keep it loose and fun and have a great third season. And we'll get them out when we get them out. There's no
Right.
no
That's it.
pressure. We thank to the listeners, thank you all for just following us on this journey. It's been a year and a half already, and I think we've come a real long way. And and when I was interviewed yesterday, I almost feel like you should have been there because I kept singing your praises as you know, be- she kept asking about producing cat content, and I said I highly recommend considering getting a co-host at some point because it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You come in more professionally prepared. I'm the unprepared comic relief that learns on the go. You know, it's something I recommended and I sang your praises, and it's definitely made a big difference for us.
Yeah. You're too sweet, but no, this it's been great, you know, and just I mean, the conversations we've had with people have just been fantastic. They've been fantastic. Like I said with Stephen Quant the other day, it just we could have talked to him for hours, and we've had so many conversations like that that it could have just gone on, you know, just really people so passionate about what they do about cats and animal rescue in general, and you know animal advocacy in general, and it's just been it's I think that it's great. I think people just like to hear it. They just like to hear real people talking about real things that they're doing to
Yeah,
help animals,
absolutely.
you know.
So if you have a great story to tell, just find, we're on all the usual social media platforms. Just search Shelter Cats Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and the YouTube channel is Shelter Cats. You could reach us, Dan at sheltercatspodcast.com, Michelle at sheltercatspodcast.com. If you want to be on the show, if you have an interesting story, if you run a shelter, if you do rescue, if you foster cats, if you've had an extraordinary cat that, saved lives from a burning building, whatever the story is,
Mhm.
don't be shy. Reach out to us, and we'd love to hear your story as well. So we're not just
Yeah,
rambling about us. And the big thing is you and I actually met for real.
we did first time
Not
in person.
not through the best means.
Right.
So, my cats, they're doing okay. You know, Sophie is 14 and a half, and I'm starting to notice age is starting to creep in with her a little bit.
Right, right.
You know, and like Tyler, like the other, like every cat, it's the shittiest part of cat ownership is when they get older, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, wow, you know, she's a tank of a cat. You met her. She's
Mhm.
just a little tank of a cat. But the past couple of weeks, I'm starting to notice she's got that kind of older look about her.
Okay.
Uh, you know, she's due for a checkup soon anyway. So I'll have her, you know, the 15,000 mile service, but um, because she'll be 15 in April. But you know, you just start to notice the age is creeping in.
Right.
And Taylor, actually Stephen Quant, who we interviewed, who was had access to Taylor's records at ACC, and he found records that indicates that Taylor may be as old as 16.
Mm,
So Taylor, over Labor Day weekends, for everyone that wasn't there that weekend, Taylor all of a sudden had severe dental issues.
yeah.
So he woke up. I took a long weekend. Whenever I take a long weekend from work, something happens.
Well, that's
Like
how it looks.
it's never like you're gonna have a great relaxing weekend. Like the July 4th of the year before, um, a cricket the size of a silver dollar was in the bedroom, right when I was going to go to sleep, and Mona noticed it and pounced on it before it jumped into the bed, which, like, you know, spooked the shit out of me. For I didn't sleep that night because I'm a wimp. Um, and this year I woke up the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and Taylor, all of a sudden, Friday night he was fine. But you know, cats, because of their instincts from nature, they are masters at hiding illnesses until
Yeah,
it's literally almost too late.
yeah, yeah.
So he had something brewing in his mouth and didn't didn't show it. So the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, I woke up and his mouth was open and he was drooling. So obviously there was something going on, and he had a look on his face that he looked like he was in a lot of pain. So I got him an emergency vet appointment, and I, not having a car, you so graciously offered to pick me up, which, you know, gave us an opportunity to meet, but not under the best circumstances.
Right, right.
So, very long story short, the vet said that he has severe gingivitis just from a lifetime of dental issues. Some cats are prone to or certain things like cancer or heart
Yeah,
issues. He has severe gingivitis and he needs his fangs extracted. However, he has a heart murmur that's strong enough that the surgery would kill him.
yeah.
So he needs to have this dental work done. But if he had it, odds are he wouldn't survive it. So the recommendation is, and also given he's 15 and his age, the recommendation was manage his pain as long as you can
Yeah.
and just spoil the hell out of him.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I got liquid and pill form the of a painkiller, and you know, some things to keep his ears clean, and took him home. And I don't know if this is wood, but I'm knocking on wood. He's actually kind
Yeah, no, you're
of,
knocking on Vance.
um, well, yeah, I'm knocking on a wooden door frame behind me. I don't want to jinx it, but he's kind of fought his way back a little bit. His mouth has
Right,
improved. His pain is better.
right.
He's closing his mouth. He has one snaggle tooth that sticks out all the time. So he's got a kind of like a like a Popeye sneer now, which I think it's cute. It's cute. You go on the Facebook page or the Instagram, you'll see pictures of him. You know, so he's kind of like got a Popeye sneer now. Like I feel like I should give him a little pipe stick out of his mouth. You know, ba-da-da-da-da-da, like get him a little like sailor cap. Um, but he takes his pills with his food, and he's kind of perked himself back up, and he's doing okay under the circumstances. He's got this will to live that is just amazing,
Yeah.
you know. And I think, he had a pretty shitty. He came from his owner dying, being abandoned, his two brothers dying. He was 2 hours away from being put down at ACC, which is, not exactly Club Med for cats.
Right.
No disrespect to anyone at ACC. And he came to me, had half his teeth pulled at that time, a year and a half ago, because he had issues then. I don't, I just, I look at him, he doesn't want to go yet.
Yeah.
It's his way of saying, fuck you, I'm staying here, I'm happy. And he's playing, he was chasing Vance, this guy right here, he was chasing Vance at top speed about an hour ago.
Yeah.
So he's hanging in there so far better than I had ever expected him to, because
That's great.
he doesn't want to go. He doesn't
Right.
want to. You know, the other shitty part about owning a pet of any kind, but especially a cat, is the look. They give
Yeah.
you the look
Yeah.
when they're ready to cross the rainbow bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't call it's not death. They cross the rainbow bridge, and it's a beautiful place. I intend to cross that rainbow bridge at some point, in the next 20, 30, 40 years. And they give you a look, and when they know they're ready,
Yeah.
and he's not. I wake up, I look at him, I check his mouth, he's not ready.
Yeah. I mean, the important, he's eating like he should. I guess, I assume he's drinking. He's still going to the bathroom, right? All that, everything that he's
Yeah,
normally,
he's
yeah. So,
keeping himself clean,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just like Sophie. Sophie has some issues with an abscess on her face,
Right.
uh, you know, but the same thing. There, she's eating, she's happy. She slept on me for 2 hours before,
Right.
because I'm getting over COVID myself. So she keeps me company when I work. So, getting older, when you see them age and you see them, like, their bodies change, or they lose weight or they gain weight, it's tough to see. I know you went through that,
Hmm.
unfortunately, with legs.
Yeah.
And you get, for me, I get like hypersensitive to any change, and I think, oh shit, what did I miss? What should I do? Should I
Yeah.
bring them? Should I rush them? You just have to make sure their quality of life is as top notch as it could be for as long as possible. So that's kind of what we're doing, what I'm doing with him.
Yep. No, and like you say, that's the challenge too, because you were just saying that you keep your eye out for any changes or whatever, but they are masters of disguise when it comes to that. And oftentimes you don't know what's really going on with them until they make it really obvious that something is wrong with them, and then oftentimes it's pretty far along at that point. Like you mentioned legs. It was, he had something, for a couple of years, I knew that something was wrong with him for a while. He had this meowing thing, and I brought him back to the vet several times for various things. And then the last time I brought him in to see what that was about, because it seemed like it was getting worse, he was at stage 4 kidney failure.
Hmm.
Stage 4. Went from, maybe it was 6 months ago when I had brought him, 6 months prior, to, from 0 to stage 4 within 6 months. So,
And you have no
they
way
can
of
turn,
knowing.
and you have no way of knowing. You have no way of knowing. I knew something else was wrong with him, but I didn't see that coming at all. So with something like that, we really just had very little time. It was pretty much within a week. No, it was a little longer than that, maybe. That we had to ultimately make that choice, but it was rough. Like, he didn't seem like he was that far along, that he was in that position,
Yeah.
until he was there. But again, like you say, you know, I tried to make him comfortable, make sure he was eating, gave him the meds that they gave me for him, but he got to a point where he just decided. I knew
Yeah.
that it was just going to be, it was torture to keep him alive any longer. you know? It was just torture.
Yeah.
Him and me. So it was,
Yeah, it's rough. It's
yeah,
stressful just with Taylor, right now he's doing better than I expected.
yeah,
But I know our time is short. I know his days are short.
yeah,
Just like with Sophie. I know Sophie's days are they're bet there are more days behind them than ahead of them.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you know, they're both while some cats can live into their 20s, it's less it's the exception to the rule. Most of them live into their mid to later teens.
yeah,
So they're
yeah.
like at that point where their days are short, so you just do the best you can. You know, it's kind of why there's a good chance we may never have a vet on the show because I'd
Mm,
probably spend most of my time ranting at them about how expensive it
oh,
wouldn't go well. I've
yeah.
talked to a few, I've invited them on the show. There's a friend of mine who's a vet in the Hamptons that would be on the show. But I would get so angry about how expensive vet care is
It's
and
shocking.
how and this visit for Taylor, the exam was $90, which is pretty common. I think they usually rank around
That's
s-
pretty, I would
s-
say that's even low. I would say that's even pretty low for just an exam. Yeah,
and this vet, I have two. This is my much closer emergency vet that uh one of my rescue friends recommended to me. So, I have a slight deal because I was referred. But between the medicine and the injections, I walked out of there spending $270. And if his heart was well enough, um, we talked about this with Stephen, he would need an echocardiogram,
yeah,
and then the extraction would be thousands of dollars.
yeah.
And the vet said to me, there's very little point in going to that expense for something that odds are he wouldn't survive because of his
Yeah.
age and the condition.
Right.
But that's why I'd love to have a vet on and get a vet's opinion. I would lose it because, as much as like healthcare needs to be reformed for humans, healthcare for pets needs to be reformed far more. The stuff is too expensive. There's so few options. For every vet that has a low cost clinic for spay neuter, or for every vet that opens a clinic in like a underserved area or an economically depressed area, there's hundreds of vets that just charge too much for this stuff, and it has to change.
Hmm.
I get
I
it; these
had,
things are expensive and they have their own costs, but
yeah,
there has to be a better solution to offer every time because like you said, by the time you found out about legs, he was at stage 4. There just has to be a better way for people to get health care for their cats. There's insurance options out there, but I've never heard great things about them or what
I've
they
heard, I actually
cover.
have heard a lot of in the last maybe, I think probably this year, maybe 6 months or so, but like several of my friends, like coworkers and whatever, have mentioned the pet insurance, and they seem to have great success with it. Now, mind you, they have dogs, so they're dealing with it with dogs, but it's still, the insurance is still the same. So I've looked into it. And there's a lot of options that are out there, but I don't know if there's the last time I looked into it, it was a little bit more expensive than I thought than I was
Right.
able to afford, at the time. But um, no, I was gonna say I had Delilah earlier this year had an abscess. I don't know where it came from, but all of a sudden she got an abscess that was on her cheek, and it didn't look good. It was swollen. It just didn't look good. So I had to bring her to the emergency vet again because she always seems to get sick on a Friday night. Little shit. I wound up bringing it to the emergency vet. By the time all was said and done, between the cleaning out and the washing out and the steroids and the antibiotics and the everything, it was 3 grand. It was 3 grand
Yeah,
between that and then the follow up visits and the whole everything. It was maybe just shy of three, but it was about 3 grand, which is crazy. It's a crazy amount of money.
it
It's
is. It's we're not independently wealthy. The show doesn't make us millions yet. So we both have day jobs.
Sure do.
So it's not easy. We do what we can for our pets. Um, to everyone listening, I highly recommend Care Credit because most vets take Care Credit. I applied and was approved in 2 seconds. I had a number, and it's come in handy for vet bills
Yeah.
because most vets that I'm aware of take it. It's for humans and cats and dogs, but it's literally just for doctors' offices and vets.
Hmm.
So if you're able to, I highly recommend it because then you could pay it off in any way you want.
Yeah.
And it's a very handy thing. So one thing I recommend is no vet I've ever been to has much positive to say about insurance.
Mm.
They've never pushed it. They've never recommended many to me. If anybody has a better story about pet insurance, feel free to leave us a comment. We have the podcast allows comments now on Spotify and YouTube, so leave us a comment and let us know if you've had better luck with insurance. Maybe we should have pet insurance people on. I don't know,
Mm.
uh, to get their input. But at the very least, I recommend you know if you don't want to use your credit card for them, Care Credit because it's very
Yeah.
handy. The interest rates are extremely low, and you're just using it for emergency and wellness and health visits. You're not using it to like go to dinner or go shopping at the supermarket. It's literally just a credit card for emergency. So you just know it's there just for that. And if things are tight, like it happens with anybody, you'll have that option. So that's my recommendation. Um, the other kind of, I'm not going to go on too much of a rant. The other kind of negative thing about what happened with Taylor is I had to end my association with his rescue, which was very unfortunate. So I kind of reached out to them first because it was early in the morning when I noticed this. Because I, being old and not being able to sleep well, I'm usually up early, and my cats take advantage of that. So now they're pouncing on my bed, waking me up early to get food. So even if I wanted to sleep, I couldn't. Sometimes I've negotiated with them, give me another half hour and I'll feed you, please. And they're
Hmm.
like, no, wake up, feed us, the hell with you. But so I let them know, and they were helpful in getting me a ride to the vet. I would have taken an Uber otherwise, but somebody that works with them that literally just transports was able to transport Taylor and I. And when I got back and told them what the vet said, you know, at that point, my emotional state was I was very stressed and very upset
Hmm.
because, as with most of these emergencies, like you said, it comes out of nowhere because by the time the cats show you they're sick, it's at an extremely emergency level for them.
Right.
They're literally unable to hide it anymore. And you just basically have to, like, DEFCON 4, you have to really like sprint and get an appointment, and they never have appointments. You have to
Nope.
beg them to squeeze you in because they're always full. Because none of them ever think, oh, we should leave emergency appointments open in our schedule because shit happens. They don't do that. They're all full. I begged and pleaded, and they squeezed me in, and I was just stressed from the whole experience. I didn't want to lose him. I thought I was
Yeah.
because he looked like he was in agony at that point.
Hmm.
And a lot of my other rescue friends and you and Ralph and my friends were very helpful and comforting, and um, just being there and being supportive like you were. You came all the way from the boonies in Suffolk County to come pick me up. And that was awesome that you did that. Their reaction was basically snapping at me for not doing more for him at the vet, not forcing the vet to put him through a battery of tests and blood tests and procedures. So instead of, oh man, the appropriate reaction where I come from is, I'm so sorry. I
Right.
know how much he means to you. I'm here for you. What can I do to help, even if you need to talk home? Their reaction was, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you put him through this? Why didn't they do that? Did the vet say this? Did the vet say that? I had been doing this for hours. I couldn't brain anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to have the vet repeat things because I was so stressed and upset that like I only have him a year and a half and I thought I was going to lose him. I
Mm.
found my brain incapable of functioning. I had to literally write stuff down because I kept forgetting and I kept having to ask. So it was, I think, from stress or age or whatever, that I was like, Joe Biden in the first debate, he just had a bad day. I love Joe Biden. I'm a liberal. Sorry, guys. Respect your opinions, but you
Mhm.
just have a bad, like he had a bad day at that debate. That's what
Yeah.
I felt like. I just felt like I wasn't clicking. I wasn't working. And it was so hurtful that that was their reaction. And they even said, if you can't handle him, you could just surrender him to our vet and we'll give
Oh
him
boy.
better care.
Wow.
It just reached,
Wow.
or my other friends where Vance came from their rescue because he was a colony cat they rescued. They offered to help me administer meds. It wasn't even their cat, and they were calling me to this day. They're still calling me. How's he doing? What can I do? If you need medication, I can help you get some from my vet. If you
Hmm.
need to refill anything, like so helpful. And his actual rescue, I won't mention their names, was so hurtful and insulting and made me
Right.
feel so incompetent.
Ugh.
It made me feel like I caused it or I neglected him. I had to block them on Facebook because she was sending message after message after message of not, we're here for you. What can we do? The messages were phrased where it just made me feel like I was the reason why he had this medical episode. It
Right.
happened from my neglect. That's how they made me feel.
Right.
And it just, so now Rosie is their foster. She's here. She's been here a year. They've communicated with me very little about her. She's a great little cat, but she's not a people person. So she's not gonna she's happy here. My cats love her. She's comfortable. She feels safe. She doesn't like people. She just doesn't. Some cats are like that.
Yeah.
She was found in Lynbrook. She had kittens. She went through some rough. She had she went through two fosters who didn't want her. Um, she's had a rough life, so she's very guarded around people. So now she's stuck here, and I'm not going to let her down or abandon her. So she's
Right.
here to stay, pretty much, as far as I'm concerned. It's just very unfortunate that episodes like this give fostering a bad name. It's just we talk about it all the time. Please foster. If you can't adopt, please foster. All the rescues need fosters, and this is a bad experience for Taylor, who was a former foster, and now Rosie. I had to cease communication with them because they were so hateful, and the things they said just hurt so much. And they've made no effort to apologize. It's 3 weeks later. They've made no effort to like, hey, I overreacted. I'm sorry. I haven't heard anything.
Was
They
it
haven't.
just, was it one person or was it like multiple people at the place?
One person mostly,
Yeah.
but in like a group conversation. So listen, I'm not. They do amazing work. They got Taylor out of death row. They rescued Rosie from a bad street life. They're constantly rescuing cats day and night. They work very hard and they do a lot of great work. I'm not saying they're bad people or they don't do anything. They do a lot of work on Long Island to help homeless cats and help find them homes. They're a great rescue fundamentally. I'm not discounting what they do, but just because they work hard, they work their tails off, pun intended.
I was gonna say fun.
Just just because they work their tails off 24/7 doesn't mean when somebody's like going through an episode and they're stressed and they're upset and they're worried. like I was, like I am, doesn't mean you get to not be nice or get
Right,
to not be
right,
supportive,
right, right,
especially to an alumni who has adopted one of your cats.
right.
So it's not it's the exception to the rule. I've spoken to other rescues about what happened, and they're just like that. I can't believe they spoke to you that way. I'm just an owner. Just because we have a podcast about shelter cats doesn't mean we're experts. Even though Gemma Smith thinks I'm a podcast expert, I'm no expert. We're no experts. We love cats. We want to talk about cats and talk to people about cats. We're just owners.
Yeah.
I wish I was a vet. If I could go back, I would be a vet.
Well, but even, look, even at that, like we've already talked about it. Cats are masters of disguise. And sometimes, unless you're doing blood work on a cat every other week or, once a month, which that's not realistic. But, you can't do that. Most cats, you get a 1 year checkup. You have a cat with existing medical issues, maybe it's every 6 months, maybe it's every 3 months or something. But, you're not examining the cat. Like I said, blood work, urine, you're not doing all those things. You can't.
Yeah.
you know,
No, it's stressful to the cat
right,
to put
right.
them through
There's that
that,
too. Right.
especially when they get to a certain age. You have to weigh putting them through that, and you have to decide: are you doing it for them, or are you doing it for you? You have to decide what the best course of action is
Mhm.
given the circumstances.
Yeah.
In Leg's case, his age, he was up there. I think 18.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
around there. Little
So he
undetermined
was
around
he
that.
was a pretty advanced age.
Yeah.
Taylor could be 16. He could be older. You don't know. Can't count their rings like
I
a
was just gonna
tree.
say it's not like a tree. You can't count the rings.
They don't know, but he's definitely 15, 16 years old. Just like Sophie. Sophie has less ahead of her than behind her. You just have to factor all these things in and
Yeah.
factor their stress and their quality of life over being selfish about I don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
So it was just, you know, bottom line, he's hanging tough. Um, he's just I love all cats. I love every cat I've had. I love your cats. I've never met them. Uh, I love Rosie, even though she hates me. Taylor is just this extra extraordinary cat
Yeah.
that has this like will to live and this heart and this way about him that is just such an amazing thing to see. How much he just wants to be here and he's happy, and his not wanting to go, and he's so happy to not want to go yet
Yeah.
that it's just some cats are like I've had enough, to hell with this. uh Taylor is just not that cat. He's just this extraordinary cat that I met late in his life. I wish I knew him from a kitten. My biggest regret is I wish I found him years ago when he was a younger cat, but I have him now. I don't regret it for the world, no matter what happens. So all my cats, their time will come, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
You can't stuff them. You can't animatronic them.
Well, I
You
mean, you
can't
could.
keep them. Yeah, it'd be weird. Turn into
They could get
Norman Bates
expensive
with
after a while.
all the stuffed animals. So it's part of the cycle of life of a pet. They This is just part of it. It doesn't mean I don't recommend it, even though it's rough on the humans,
Yeah. Yep.
because we want to do more and we want to take it upon ourselves. I'd rather I have the dental problems was drooling instead of him. Sophie has an abscess that I'm going to have to deal with in the next few months. You saw it, it's starting to
I did.
get big to the point where,
Yeah, it's pretty big.
the vet also said she's a little too old to put her through that, but kind of see what happens. And it's reaching a point where it's not interfering with anything, but it's reaching a point where if I don't do something about it soon, like by the end of the year, it's going to start to cause problems. No regrets. I love them, even though they're the equivalent of 80-year-old people. I love them. I don't regret adopting him at age 13. I knew that it would be short.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the rough part of taking on an older cat, because you know that your time is limited, to a certain extent. So it's,
yeah, a
but
few.
the beauty is with an older cat that you don't have to deal with all kitten shenanigans. You don't have to train them. You don't have to do any of that stuff. They are who they are,
Yeah,
and
you
you get what you get.
exactly. And yeah, a lot of people, when I told them I was keeping him, a lot of my friends said, "Are you sure he's not going to be
Yeah.
around very long?"
Well, what else do you
He's
want? I
third.
mean,
He's 13. Are you sure?
yeah,
Uh, I cannot recommend adopting a senior more highly,
yeah,
no matter what happens with his time left. It is such a rewarding experience for me as much as it is for them because of how any rescue cat will thank you for the rest of their lives. Any cat you've taken from a shelter. Vance still thanks me every time I feed him.
yeah.
As I'm putting the food in their bowls, he's rubbing my legs. He's doing the figure eight,
Mm-hmm.
rubbing my legs. And I always say to him, "You're going to get fed. You don't have to thank me." But every time it's like, cats don't have long-term memories for these things. But every time it's like, "Oh my God, you're going to feed me? That's so great. Thank you so much. I have no idea what this means to me." He's been here almost 3 years. He gets to eat whatever he wants.
And
Um,
meanwhile, I feel like Delilah's yelling at me when I'm in the kitchen. I'm literally in the middle of filling up her bowl. I said, meow, meow. Yeah, I'm like, I get it. I'm doing it right now. Meow, meow, yeah. I'm like, do you not see me?
you're not doing it fast enough. That's Sophie. Sophie with her smoker's meow will scream at me if I don't give her food at the time she wants. If she doesn't get her treats by 6:30 p.m., whatever I'm doing, if I'm working late, if I'm recording with you, she will literally come in the room, you know. Um,
Well, Dan, I meant to ask you before when you said that Taylor's doing good with taking his medication and his food. How are you doing with separating his food out from the other cat's food? Like, do you put him in a different room? What do you do?
Kind of watch him as he eats.
And they
I
don't come
put it.
over to bother him with his food?
I make sure they don't eat his food. So
Okay.
he gets the pills are capsules. They're like the plastic capsules.
Yeah.
So I cut them in half, and the powder, it looks like
Okay.
cocaine. I put that's the only way I can describe it. It's white powder. It looks like I'm giving him cocaine, but it's I give him half a pill with each meal, and I watch him until he finishes eating to make sure no one else eats his food. He
And does he
eats
eat everything like all in one setting? Because that was the problem I had with these guys, is they would both eat a little bit and then leave and then come back and eat a little bit more, but from the other bowl. So like I had to, when I was doing it with legs, I had to physically separate him into another room to make sure that one, he finished it, and two, Delilah wouldn't get to it in the meantime. So it was always a challenge.
he eats most of his food,
Yeah.
and I've been giving him tuna for dinner
Okay.
because you know the vet said spoil the hell out of him. What does it matter now? So I give him tuna and water. Never give them tuna and oil.
Mm.
So I give him
Hmm.
tuna and water, and he's so excited, like he's reaching up on the counter as I'm opening the can with the can opener, that I'm able to mix the powder in with the food, and he's so excited to eat the food that he doesn't realize he's taken some of his
Yeah.
medication.
Yeah.
And I also have liquid form of, it's called gabapentin, which is
Right.
a pain medication. I think it's even good for people. I haven't tried it on myself yet, but it's snort
I
the
imagine the
snort
dose
the.
would have to be quite different.
I have the liquid form and a oops
Where'd you
and
go?
I I dropped the camera. Um, Look at there's Vance. I have the liquid form and a syringe, so
Yeah.
if he needs to get an extra half a dose, he's not thrilled about it because he sees it and you have to be quick and grab him by the scruff of his neck, otherwise
Yeah.
he's fucking gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when he wasn't doing well, and I had to give him the liquid at first. He saw the syringe and he came right back to life. He's like, I have scars on my hands because he's like, fuck you. Um, but mostly now it's in his food, and
Yeah.
he gets enough of it that he seems okay. There she is.
It's
So
dinner. Speaking of dinner time, come on, come on.
so last tip is a good way to tell if your cat is having dental problems is a few things. If you see them drooling a lot, and look for their lower jaw clicking. So instead of the jaw opening and closing, if the lower jaw kind of like it looks like it
Mm,
hurts to close the mouth.
yeah.
So instead of that, if the lower jaw kind of, clicks or
Okay.
it kind of shakes as they're closing their mouth, get them an appointment right away.
Yeah.
And the drooling and, if they're not eating, if they're not crunching, just look for those kind of signs. If you have a cat like I do that yawns in your face, I hate to say this, but smell their breath. If it's very strong, you know, I happen to love cat breath. If it was a cologne, I'd wear it.
Oh,
Uh,
jeez.
I would. I would totally like, what is that?
Oh
That's feline breath.
my
It wouldn't
goodness.
get me many dates at
No,
all.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would.
What is that? Why do you smell like cats? Is that on
Was
purpose? You
that a
smell
choice?
like, we know you host a show, but you have to smell like them too. I don't think this is going to work out. Um, I don't know why I did that voice,
I
but
don't know. I don't know what kind of dates are going on there.
none at all. I don't want to. I don't want to unless you're a multimillionaire, and then call me.
I'm
Because I'd
sure.
love to do this. I'd love to do this full time and retire. But I digress. They all have cat breath, but if it's very strong, very fishy, very out of the ordinary, that's also a sign that something's brewing. Same with their ears. If their ears smell like cheese doodles, bring them to the vet. Odds are that means they have an ear infection. So you got to
Mhm.
they're gonna, like you said, master of disguise. They're gonna
Yep.
hide this shit. They don't want you to know because in the wild, that would be a sign of weakness, and a prey would eat them, would kill them. So they have to hide this and look strong. They have to look like, Donald. He's afraid to admit any mistake. I'm not going to talk politics, but they won't show weakness in the wild because a potential prey would pick up on that. So they have that instinct at home. Don't show anything. Don't show any weakness at all. So you have to try to look for the signs despite that. So those are our tips, lesson learned from this episode
Mhm.
with Taylor. Just look for these signs. Just pay attention. Anything out of the ordinary, if anything's different from what they're doing, they're not eating, any change in their routine. The benefit of having a cat is they're creatures of routine, as you know.
Yeah.
Any change in that routine, get them looked at the vet. Get
Yeah.
the care credit, take out the credit card, whatever you have to do. Get them an exam because any change in the routine might possibly mean something's brewing. So that's our tip. So that was my summer. I'm glad we got to meet, and honestly, you're the best part of this show. You really are.
Thank you.
You have a better voice than me. You have a way better shoe collection than I do.
Well, that's true. I definitely have a better shoe collection. That I can't argue with.
and and
Then
this
again, I
show would
haven't seen your shoe collection, so you might have one.
I haven't bought a pair. Fun fact, I haven't bought a pair of sneakers since 2003.
Come on,
It's
really?
true. I don't wear sneakers. Do I look like I run?
You don't need to run to wear sneakers. Did you buy?
I'm I
Have you bought other shoes since
yes.
2002? Okay, all right,
I bought a pair last fall.
okay.
I'm a
That's
slip
cute. That's
on
all.
last like, and that was the first pair I bought for 3 years before that. So I'm a dude. I don't like laces. I like the slip on like loafer
That's
shoes.
fair. That's fair.
And again, they don't sponsor us, but feel free. Skechers makes these. I'm old. I'm a year behind
I
you.
mean, we're both 50 and over, so you know, a slip on is a wonderful thing.
The slip on the memory foam, fucking memory foam shoes. I slip them on. They match with everything. That's my thing. I have them in a few colors, and when the thing when it breaks the what's the bottom sole
Oh,
when it wears through, I get another pair of the same color. I literally wore these out, and I'm like, why are my feet getting? I
oh my
wore them in the
God.
rain once, and I'm like,
Oh my
they looked
God.
fine. They looked fine to me. And I'm like, why
That's
are my
funny.
feet getting wet? And I looked down, and it was cracked. And
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
funny.
dummy, time to get shoes. So I don't. I'm big on slippers, moccasins. When I'm home, I have a few pair of those. They're literally right here.
Thing and what's funny, as much as I love shoes, I have quite the collection, as you've pointed out. If I could spend the rest of my life barefoot, I would spend the rest of my life barefoot. I love being barefoot, but it can't really.
Interesting.
It's not really safe or sanitary in most situations. Frowned, not socially acceptable, frowned down about, so I leave the barefoot to home unless I have to go outside or whatever and do stuff.
So
Mostly
when
I'm
you're
barefoot.
home, when you're in your house lounging, you're barefoot. You don't wear
Almost
slippers.
100% of the time. I'll put on like warm fuzzy socks if I'm chilly every once in a while, or depending on what I have to do. Like if I'm gonna be, I don't know, if I'm gonna be where I'm gonna need to be on my feet for a long time, I'll put on like cushion, like some kind of. I have a pair of like Skechers flops that have a good cushion to them, but otherwise barefoot.
Interesting. No. When I'm home, if I walk around, I have slippers on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's never, I don't even have slippers. I don't have actual slippers. Oh, no, I do, but they were my mom's. I just don't wear them. I have flip flops that I'll throw on some flops every once in a while if I need to, but I much
Well,
prefer to be
if I need a pair of sneakers, I will take you shopping with me because I feel like there would be more of you'd
uh,
be a you'd be very helpful in helping me pick out shoes, given what I see right behind you.
well, what's funny is the majority of shoes that I have not purchased in stores. This has all been like online shopping or like I don't belong to it anymore, but for probably about a year or two, I was part of a subscription shoe service, one of those monthly things where you get discounts on whatever, and
Like Columbia House for shoes.
a little bit, something like that.
Cool.
It
I
was,
didn't know there was something like that.
yeah, no, it's still around. They still, but after a while, it just got too expensive, and it was just, I didn't need that many shoes. I just didn't. It was a lot. It was a lot. So I backed out of that. But yeah. Now I used to work at a shoe store that was part of a chain of stores, and we got if I remember correctly, it was a 40% discount on shoes in our store, lowest price. So like if shoes were on like clearance for like $12, I still got 40% off of that. And then it was like either 20 or 30 in other stores that were part of the chain.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's pretty much where the addiction solidified. Um, but yeah,
There are worse addictions, so I respect this
there
addiction.
are as far as they go. And I'm not like an expensive shoe person either. I like to try to get good shoes at a cheap price. So that's.
And picking the right when you go out, or say with Ralph or with friends,
hmm
you'll always have the right shoes to wear. And
I still find that a challenge. That's why there's so many of them, because every once in a while you're like, nope, nothing's working with this outfit. You got to get new shoes. That's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. It's like cats, you have to have one of everyone.
so you still like you've had nights where none of the shoes work and you're
Yeah,
frustrated.
yeah.
So what do? Go out and buy a new pair or
Um,
make
that
do with
has
what you have?
happened. that has happened, or I make do with what I have, or I'll change the outfit a little bit. I usually just make do with what I have.
See, all mine are gray, so no matter what I wear, I
Well, there
know the
you go.
shoes will be fine.
Yeah. See, but it's not just the color, it's the style. It's the comfort, it's the walkability. So, if I'm going
Mm.
someplace and I'm gonna need to walk around, there's certain shoes I can't wear for that. And it's a whole thing.
That's that sounds very stressful.
It's insanely stressful. It's ridiculous. It's
I
just
know.
such a
Oh my God, what am I gonna
such a
wear?
problem. It's such
On
a
that note, welcome to season 3 of the Shelter Cats podcast. We have no
welcome to
idea
season
where we're
3.
going, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Coming up is Emma Cruises talking about Captain Hudson's children's books, and Stephen Quant talking about amazing tips for cat behavior and cat behavior related tips that we talked to him about. We have a few episodes in the can that we need to edit, you and I, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Little Shelter coming up. We may have that actor if he ever is not busy. Now he's doing
Sure, we just need
audiobooks.
45 minutes. Just 45 minutes of his time will be
You know,
fine.
now he's working on an audiobook and a video game. I give up.
Mm-hmm.
I basically like, you know, because he's always, I know I'm sorry. I know I'm sorry. I'm like, you let me know. I gave up with you. You just let me know. And it's like a running joke at this point. We have Little Shelter. We have Rescue Advocates of Long Island coming up. And we're going to hear feline spotlights of your cats, past and present, because your cats deserve the season 3 spotlight. So that will be coming up throughout the year. And maybe we'll get out and do some more video on location
We should.
with our
We
fancy
should.
phones. Um, and thank you for everything. And this is season 3, so stay tuned.
That's it.
And until then, be good to your cats, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yep. Take care.
Take care.